The Housing Authority, 1, approval of the regular meeting minutes from June 15, 2015. 2, approval of the warrant claims from June 27, 2015 through July 10, 2015. Is there any public comment on the consent calendar for the Housing Authority? No. Seeing no public comment, close it and bring it back to the dais. Any discussion or motions?
I moved to approve the consent calendar items 1 and 2.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, can you please pull the vote?
Board Member Hawley?
Yes.
Board Member Murray?
Yes.
Vice Chair Ania?
Yes.
Chair Gassano?
Yes, that passes unanimously. Housing Director's report, we have none, no public hearings, no continuing business, but we do have some new business here, and item number 3 is consider for approval resolution number HA 2015-02, a resolution of the Crescent City Housing Authority adopting revised administrative plan for the Housing Choice Voucher Program, revising CCHA Administration Plan Chapters 1, 8, and 11. Hello, Ms. Miller.
Hello. We do have some proposed changes on the agenda tonight for our administrative plan. The changes are not, there's not a lot of them. They're in Chapters 1, which is Program Overview, Chapter 8, Inspections, and Chapter 11, Reexaminations. In Chapter 1, we updated the mission statement, which we changed at our 5-year plan back in April. In Chapter 8, Inspections, we expanded a little bit on the definitions and the criteria for the alternative and biennial inspection schedules. And then in Chapter 11, Reexaminations, we added some additional wording for one of the questions that we are required to ask about registered sex offenders. The changes, again, are mainly wording, formatting. They're not changes that are likely to be noticed by our participants or our landlords. But anytime we make any changes, even if it's to correct a spelling error, we have to take it to the Advisory Commission, which we did, and the board.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Nope. Any public comment? No public comment. Okay, got it back here. Do I have any motions or other discussion?
I'll move that we adopt Resolution HA 2015-02, a resolution of the Crescent City Housing Authority adopting revised administrative plan for the Housing Choice Voucher Program, revising CCHH Administrative Plan Chapters 1, 8, and 11.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Please pull the vote.
Board Member Hawley?
Yes.
Board Member Murray?
Yes.
Vice Chair Ania?
Yes.
Chair Gassano?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Thank you.
Okay, having no other items on the agenda for the Housing Authority, we'll adjourn to our next meeting, which will be August 17, 2015. And we'll go back to, actually, we'll adjourn to the successor agency, to the redevelopment agency. Okay, we call that meeting to order. The Crescent City Successor Agency to the Redevelopment Agency. Dispense with roll call because nobody's left. We have no reports or presentations. Public comment period. Is there anybody who wishes to comment on the Successor Agency to the Redevelopment Agency? Anybody? Nope. Okay, we'll close that. We'll go to consent calendar. We have one item, a approval of the regular meeting minutes from June 15th, 2015. Do you have any discussion from the board? No? Any public comment? No? And so we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion? Sorry.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Please pull the vote.
Board Member Hawley?
Yes.
Board Member Murray?
Yes.
Vice Chair Ania?
Yes.
Chair Gassano?
Yes, thank you. And that is approved unanimously. Executive Director's report, none. No public hearings, no continuing business, no new business. We will adjourn from here until our next regularly scheduled meeting, which probably would be in August as well. So now we return to our regular scheduled program, which would be our City Council meeting, and we are on to new business, item number 12. Consider and waive full reading, read by title only, and introduce ordinance number 788 of the City Council of the City of Crescent City, amending Chapter 13.17, Water Conservation of Chapter 13, Public Services of the Crescent City Municipal Code to reference the water shortage contingency plan as a standalone document. Mr. Palazzo.
Yeah, Mayor Gastineau, members of council, Tom Romsberg, our utilities manager, will present this item.
Thank you, Tom. Somebody needs to mic him up.
Is that better? All right.
Got to get it up to your mouth there, Tom. So all the people at home are interested in this, so
Very good. How about now? We good?
perfect, thank you.
All right. So the first thing we wanted to cover is the amendment to the ordinance, and really the background on that. The current water conservation ordinance includes stages and prohibitions that are in our water shortage contingency plan. So the document is very detailed, and all that information is specifically in the ordinance. But as this drought continues, and we hope it doesn't, state requirements will likely change. We expect them to change and become more fluid, and we envision seeing multiple times where we have to change a water shortage contingency plan. And so that was really the purpose of the submitting the revised ordinance. Is what we're trying to do is we want to modify the water shortage contingency plan. We want to de-link the ordinance so we were able to externally change our water shortage contingency plan and not have to go in and do a complete ordinance amendment. So that's really the purpose of that, and we see other cities in the area have been doing that, and we're kind of following suit, and it's really a matter of efficiency. So that's the purpose. But I think an important topic right now is just do a little update for the council and talk about what's been happening, because we go way back into July of last year, and this whole drought started. We came in and we implemented the water shortage contingency plan that kept adopted by the council. But since then, what's happened is the drought continues. We did that resolution and we implemented stage 2, in which there is mandatory conservation. But the drought has been continuing, although you hear yesterday there's flooding in Southern California, but unfortunately it's going to take a lot more than that to resolve the overall drought picture. So in March, the State Water Resources Control Board extended the regulations that were originally set to run a year. And so there was an extension, and then several weeks later, the governor on April 1, by executive order, mandated that there be a 25% reduction statewide in water usage. And that's an average number statewide. And how this all worked is that each urban water supplier, they have to reduce, and those percentages vary significantly, as low as 4% to as high as 36%. I know folks have seen in the area here recently, Eureka and Arcata, you probably saw in the paper where they were granted a 4% target. And that really fundamentally comes back to is they're fed by Ruth Lake, and so they're able to meet the requirement, which is 4 years of storage. Unfortunately, we don't have storage, because we'd love to take advantage of it, but we don't have storage. So how they determined this is they took a snapshot of our data, and for us it was July, or all the users, July through September 2004. We submit reports and they determine your per gallons per day per capita, how much each person uses per day. And based on that, they had a sliding scale, higher number, higher reduction target, lower number and lower. We came up with a number of 16%. And this is going to be evaluated starting last month through February of next year. And the overall evaluation would be an average. You'll take the total sum of those periods and average it. In addition, at the same time, they made certain mandates that all Californians have to apply within, and some of them are basically they're listed here. You know, do not allow water to run off lawns, landscapes, or gardens onto adjacent gutters, sidewalks, parking lots, or alleys. Not wash off sidewalks, driveways, or other hard surfaces. Equip all hoses with shut-off. Ensure all running ornamental water features are equipped with the water recycling system. Promptly repair all leaks. All restaurants shall provide a table basically stating that water is provided upon request. Hotels, motels provide a room, a notice of water emergency. And a new one is you don't irrigate if you have a measurable water rainfall, no irrigation within 48 hours. So all these are state law for everyone, anyone in the state. So what does it mean for us? We're a large urban water supplier. Well, we have to meet the state requirements. We need to meet the 16% goal, and that again is June through February. We need to notify customers about leaks. We need to report. Every month we have to submit an electronic report on our usage and the metrics. And we have to report on compliance enforcement. So we currently do that, how many complaints we receive and what actions we took. So that's an ongoing process. So why is it important to Crescent City? Well, one of the things that's occurring now is, and I know people have lived here a long time, is you look at the river and you actually can see very, very low flow. And that is measured at, we have some data here that's measured at Jed Smith. So you see here an average flow of 1616. A previous minimum for this period was 363, and this is cubic feet per second. That was back in 1987. And now we're at 337. And there's more current data than that, but this is from a few weeks ago. So it's very low, and you don't need the numbers here. You just drive over it, and you can tell very little water coming down. But another important factor for, I think, all of us to remember on the state requirements is there's a link on meeting the state requirements and our eligibility for many of our important grants. And as you know, we have two very important grants in progress right now. One being the seismic retrofit of the elevated tank, and a recent grant submittal for the lift station work for city and county lift stations. So these are vital, so in compliance with the water regs and meeting this is a prerequisite for grant eligibility. So where are we at? So I've been running reports, and we collect the data off our, this is all based on production data. And so this is a graph showing you March, April, May, and June. And the first 3 months we're well over our target. And you hit June and we're a little short. And I look at that and you go, well, I wouldn't get too distressed yet. We have part of what's happening. I think part of what may be happening here is we're into first month of summer. It's been hotter, but we'll see. But it does tell us that we have to kind of step things up a little and monitor this. But that's where we look right now. We've been exceeding for 3 out of the 4 months. So what we're going to need to do is to continue to implement these mandatory restrictions. And I think a key one that is important to enforce is, and people to be aware of, is restrict watering from, you don't water between the hours of 10 and 6, and it's a high evaporation. It's just common sense. The Public Works Department has and will continue to be very proactive and aggressive on leak. They hear of a leak, they go after it, they find it, and they've done a really good job in that. And we've seen a lot of a reduction in leaks over the last 6 to 8 months. Increased public awareness. We're going to see ongoing activities in that area in the different media, and I believe Eric spoke with the newspaper today, so that's the first part of that, and there'll be more coming. But I think increased compliance monitoring, customer conservation support, and I think this is going to be a dialogue and more one-on-one interface with people in the community to get awareness, education, and then in some cases there'll be compliance. But because really at the end of the day, what we're doing here, if you look at our whole requirement, it's really common sense. Most of this is, just don't waste the water. They're all best management practices. There's nothing that we have in our plan that's draconian or real rigid. It's just don't waste it, water at the right time, and take care of the water. So some of the things that we have to help us comply is we have information that's on the city website. there's a lot of sources of tips, and there's a few here that list that they seem simple, but they actually all add up. You know, when you wash dishes, don't let the water run. Doing laundry, match the water level to the size of the load. Just simple things, right? Giant load, little, you know, washing something small. Shorten your shower. Reward kids for water saving tips they follow. Organic mulch out in your garden to help hold and retain water. There's a lot of things like that that you'll see being posted. There's lots of them, but I think the main ones are going to be you know, how you water, when you water, and don't letting wasted water run down the gutter. I think those are the most important ones that are they're gonna help us get to our goal. So how are we going to get to the goal? Well, we're going to implement the state requirements. We're going to complete the reports. This is how we'll achieve compliance. And what are our next steps? Well, the first step is tonight is the first reading of the ordinance. And that allows us to set up the framework to change our water shortage contingency plan. So we'll be coming back, staff will come back to the council with a revised plan that's already been prepared. We'll do that at the second reading of the ordinance. And then really pick up and increase the public outreach to get people on board with this, because it is an important goal for the whole state. We're all in this together. It's important to our grants, and it's important not to waste water. And we'll get through this, and I think we should hit our goal. So that's water.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions from the council, comments?
I have just a couple real quick ones. I don't know what the condition of the smaller water systems are in our region. And in the past, when the Smith River's been low, they're having some difficulties. And I believe at some point they have asked for some of the Crescent City's water to offset their shortages. If that happens, it seems like it's going to be important for us to track. That'll skew our statistics, so it seems like it's going to be important to have to track that water going out to different systems if that occurs. Is there a way to do that?
Well, yes, there has to be. Right now, it's fairly simple how we do the tracking. We're doing it based on production, but we are also we're refining on our billing and what data is captured to get a better refinement of the different buckets, and that falls exactly in the area that you're talking about, is how you split, how you understand where all the flows go.
Okay, because it just seems like that needs to be taken out of the formula. Secondly, you know, in reading about using water, maybe wastewater will be used more frequently to water parks and that kind of thing. We may be a little ways away from that, but I know we had a grant application at one point to use our clean wastewater from the plant to take care of the park. Do you see any relaxing of those environmental rules so that we might be able to do something like that in the future?
I think I may have to point tomorrow. I am not aware of any. I know the permitting is, I'm not aware of anything in permitting that's gotten easier. I have not heard of anything. Martha may have.
No, I don't see, as far as the wastewater, relaxing those regulations. I think they'd rather see statewide, up here it doesn't make as much sense, but statewide they're working at replacing parks, grass with other types of drought-resistant materials.
Okay, thank you.
Question. I wanted to follow up on Councilmember Holly's statement. If we need to help out other areas with water, we use it our own, like he suggested, the smaller systems, we would ask the state first to do that, right? So they wouldn't count that usage against ours? And get permission from them?
I believe that we would need to for a couple of reasons. One, for the accounting, but I think, you know, if you're providing water outside of your service area, that it triggers another issue, and I think Martha I think that is correct, that you have to do that.
Okay, thanks.
And Gene and I talked last Thursday night about the gray water from the wastewater treatment facility, because we had applied for a grant to do just that, to water Beachfront Park a number of years ago, and we were denied that grant because the North Coast Water Regency Control Board didn't like that idea, and I don't think that we can do that at this point, but maybe they will find a way that we could, if we recycle the water in a different manner, that maybe we could come up with a new approach. Because what they're finding is in Southern California that they're not watering the public parks with all the trees, and that's been detrimental to the trees, which is not a good thing for the trees or the people. So it's kind of a catch-22 for the public park system and the trees and the environment, because we need the trees in order to maintain healthy places for people to live and play. So it's kind of a mess. So I don't know, because we do need to keep our trees healthy in the places where there's severe droughts. So I don't know what the solution is, and hopefully we'll have some rain. Because some of the stuff I'm seeing on the web says that there's a possible El Nino coming. So maybe, or I don't know what the solution is. But I also wanted to mention in our conversation last Thursday night that just for the public's information, that the water fountain by the library, that water there is recycled. It's not fresh water. So if people think that we're wasting water there, that's actually recycled water, just for the public's information. So we're not wasting water there either.
Yeah. Recirculated,
Recycled, recirculated water.
And maybe I can add to that. With the fountain, it is recirculated water, and what we'll do is we'll, create a sign to inform the public and, our visitors that, it is kind of recycled, recirculated water that we can do. On the irrigation of the parks, that was something we were looking at, and just to expand on that, it came to, a point where it was cost to put that in, and also regulation. It is something that we haven't pursued, further, but it is something that we'll probably dust off a little bit and see if there's any other traction that we can get, with that. The watering of the parks, it does, take a lot of water, and as you saw in those charts that Tom, put up, we're 3% below where we need to be at this time. It's a message and to the public that we need their help, and we need to start conserving, not watering the parks at this point. Would I think would be prudent for the city not to water our parks. There's a lot of communities throughout California that if you have green grass, it's not looked upon. It's almost frowned upon to have green grass at this point. So we need to do our part. So we've turned off the water to the parks, and we'll kind of see how things play out, and then also try and get our percentage numbers up, because we do need to, overall on that average, make that 16%.
Yeah, and add on that, the reclaimed water, I was sending Gene articles that Pleasanton is actually doing reclaimed water through their wastewater treatment plant. If you can come get 300 gallons to use on your landscaping anytime for free from them, and they just have the spigots out there for them.
And talk about that a little more. My understanding, kind of, our plant is a class or grade 3 level plant, and a lot of those reclaimed water plants are grade 4, and so that kind of changes our status with the state and a little different requirements. So those are, come with cost.
Sure.
And so we're, looking at those types of things at this point to see, where we're at, and it's also staffing. We struggle to keep, employees, with the certifications, and you need that to operate the plant. Tom, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, there's a lot of steps to get to that. And you would think that there will come the time where it would make sense. But if you're down in the Bay Area, I've been, I think it was in Vacaville, where you're going to encounter this, where you look and you see a sprinkler box, and it's not the green color, it's purple, and they're marked. And whenever you see those, that's a city that's got a reclaimed water, and it's a whole separate piping system that's going out and it's irrigating. So, I mean, there's a lot of infrastructure there, but you are starting to see it more and more. So it's always purple. That tells you it's recycled.
It's good to work that, in that direction, so. All right, so any public comment on our amending Chapter 1317, Water Conservation? Any public comment? Oh, guess not. All right, seeing no public comment, I'll close public comment and we'll bring back to the council. Is there any more questions, comments? Do I have a motion?
I will make a motion for our considering and waiving the full reading by title only and introduce the ordinance number 788 of the City of Crescent City Council, amending Chapter 13.13. Let's see, I better read it from over here. Introduce ordinance number 788 of the City of Crescent City Council of Crescent City, amending Chapter 13.17 of the Water Conservation of Title 13 Public Services of the Crescent City Municipal Code.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please poll the vote.
Councilmember Holly?
Yes.
Councilmember Murray?
Yes.
Pro Tem Mania?
Yes.
Mayor Gastineau?
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so that is the end of our agenda. We're on to city council items. There's any legislative matters? Mr. Palazzo, no? Anybody else? No? Okay. City manager report. Anything to report?
Nothing to report this evening.
All right, thank you. Reports, concerns, referrals from council, travel, and training reports. Catherine, why don't you go first, please?
Thank you. Let's see. Since our last council meeting, we had the Airport Joint Powers Authority meeting on the 8th, and we're working towards completion of the runway safety area and launching our new terminal, getting ready to go with that, which is very exciting. And then we had our local transportation commission meeting the next day, and trying to remember what happened there.
I was glad you went first.
I can't remember anything really significant. Sorry, I didn't make any notes about that.
There were a lot of updates on what's happening with last chance grade and the Highway 199 project and those issues. I think were the mainly ones just keeping us up to date.
Yeah, so, let's see, I went to the farmer's market and the Saturday farmer's market. That is really thriving. And then I've had a lot of correspondence regarding tomorrow's Del Norte Solid Waste Authority meeting, and I just wanted to acknowledge all the individuals who have sent me emails regarding that. I'm not going to read any of them, but I just wanted to, because the individuals have taken a lot of time. There's a lot of concern about Mr. Gitlin's correspondence to Chair Holly for that, and I just wanted to acknowledge those emails. And then I've also had some individuals talk to me regarding BID, and those individuals have said they want to keep BID alive. So those are my report outs.
Thank you. Mr. Hawley?
Thank you. Since the last meeting, there was a senior center meeting, and we're still dealing with budget issues, as nonprofits often do. But we're working through that. Again, the Transportation Commission did meet, and it's always an interesting group, and it's a very important group, and they seem to care a lot about the infrastructure here in the region. And the other night, I was able to attend the Relay for Life function over at the high school. In fact, I played in the band for a little while, which was nice. But it was the most beautiful evening for Relay for Life that I can remember. So it's a great organization, and they do a lot to fight cancer, and I appreciate everyone's interest and their volunteerism. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nia?
Just one item to report. Attended the County City 2x2 Committee. We haven't had a meeting for quite a while. Talked about homelessness and a few other things, and we'll be meeting again shortly.
All right. I had a pretty busy week in between. It's like we did a blight tour with council member Inscore, myself, city manager, Ms. Rice, and conducted by Mr. Taylor, and get a first-hand look at what's going on in our community and what we need to focus our efforts on to make it a better, cleaner community. Did the Business Improvement District 2x2 meeting with Mr. Inscore, discuss the parameters of what kind of support that bid needs to get approval from the city council to continue. And then I had a nice meeting with the civic engagement class of the California Center for Rural Policy summer program, and talked to some of the kids there. Some of them were my former students, and how they want to get involved as young people in causes to help government and to make their community a better place, which is really refreshing. Went to the city 2x2 with Mr. Ania, and then let's see, had a good time with Jason Wiley and Kevin Tupman of the cities. They took my drone out, and we flew some of the infrastructure of the city, the rainy collector at Smith River. Beautiful day out there at Smith River, to look at how it's the buildings are, and chlorination, and then also the chlorination building, and then the elevated tank. And we got some shots of that, so that in the future, if you see any aerial pictures, just gives me a good excuse to go fly my drone around. Try not to interfere with anybody while I'm doing it, but just a fun time to be out there with the guys and see all their infrastructure and how these grants that we're looking for are here to help us as a city and have a better understanding of how our buildings are deteriorating and need the maintenance. Definitely is. You'll see the results of that from those pictures. Then on Friday, League of Cities had the Redwood Empire Division meeting down in beautiful Trinidad, and we talked about Airbnbs and bed and breakfasts and other, you'd say, sort of couch surfing from the web and stuff like that, which takes up housing stock. And I don't know if you have any, impact on Megan, how much housing stock gets taken up by bed and breakfasts and stuff like that. So it was a big concern, especially in small communities where they don't have a large housing stock, and then 25% is taken up by bed and breakfasts. Their community is 25% empty for 6 months out of the year. So it's a big concern for them, because all that population goes for like funding for schools, infrastructure, and all this other stuff. So it was a big concern. Then I also attended the Relay for Life. When I was going to the dunk tank, I was jailed by the sheriff and had to pay bail to get out. Then it was in,
Was it
but
a misdemeanor or a felony?
It was a felony, of course.
So you'll be leaving the council?
Yeah. He was going to keep me in there if I didn't pay and up my bail. And then I did get a work release to go to the dunk tank for an hour, so that was good. And then that evening, well, actually, from midnight to 2, it was like they made me walk for 5 miles. So, but that was for the Rotary Club, and so it was a great experience, and it's all for a good cause. So definitely to open that up more. I think there's a stigma around it that it's not a public event, and it's only people there that have survived cancer or had some of the cancer. But when they're doing their fundraisers, they want to get people down there. So I think we need to get that out more next year. So make it more carnival, even though it's solemn, heavy subject. To get down there and have that party atmosphere makes everybody feel better and also raises more money for them. So that was a good thing. Had a good time, and I'm having problems walking because I've walked so much and I'm hurting now. So other than that seems to do it. And man, we do not meet again until August, and July is flying by. My summer is flying by.
Mr. Gastineau?
Yes, sir.
Before you hit the gavel, there was one thing I missed, and
Please.
I wanted to speak to this briefly. we've all seen some of the press about the grand jury reports, especially as it relates to the Solid Waste Management Authority. And we have some serious work to do in that authority. But connected to that, we haven't reviewed our code of ethics for a while and similar policies. And I would ask that we direct the city manager to come back with that so we can take a look at it. I'm not saying we have any problem on this board, but I think it's probably a good policy to keep updating us on that. Okay?
All right. Consensus?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, with that, being no further business come before the council, we will adjourn till our next scheduled meeting, August 3rd, 2015, 5 p.m. Everybody enjoy your evening.